When was it you decided, like, you know what, I'm not gonna, like, I don't want to act?
I guess when realistically, I made a transition from like my mind going from acting to cannabis realistically in real time, or into just like acting was a hustle in itself. You know what I mean? And a business that I built as a childhood. Enjoy it? I don't like the business of entertainments per se as a go-to business. I love the opportunities that it presents, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But it's not something, acting wasn't something that I wanted to grind out forever. And look, bro, I did it for 20 something years, bro. That's if career. I live to 100, that's 1/5 of a lifetime. That's a career.
Yeah.
I got 2 pensions from SAG. You know what I'm saying? Like 2 10-year pensions. So yeah, I put in time as a child. I just started hella early. You know what I'm saying? And then it was definitely tough. I mean,
because you were a child actor.
Yeah. And then, I worked into an adult too, you know, I worked into my 20s.
I couldn't imagine really working at those ages, and you're getting worked. Like,
oh yeah,
talk about that, you know, like,
I know it's not a way different childhood than most people ever had. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't no school. I didn't go to school. Realistically, you know?
Yeah.
I went to high school for 6 months, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I went to Chatsworth for half of my 10th grade year. The year before I had homeschool and I was working all the time. And then after that, I got went to some school in Hollywood that gives actor kids GED diplomas basically so that they can go work as an adult. Because once the change happens in entertainment, this is what happens. You work as a kid, and then once you're like 16, 17 years old and they can get a dude that's an adult to play you, you don't work no more because they're not going to send a kid and his guardian and a teacher when they're shooting in things. That's just too much money, bro. Unless it's a fucking big hit and it makes sense for them to. But any run-of-the-mill child actor, they're going to hit a plateau and stop working, because if you can't go on set by yourself and you can't be your own legal guardian, they're not going to spend 3 times the money for you. They're just not going to do it. It doesn't fit into the business side of things unless it's some like I said, you know, super celebrity instances. You know what I mean? So I got that so I can continue to work, and I continued working. So I was out of school, but yeah, I was just in and out. I never really had a school experience because I was constantly being pulled in or pulled out. And you do you're supposed to do school on set for 3 hours a day, but who fucking knows? You know what I mean? I mean, in homeschool, I'm smart, dog. Don't get me wrong. I'm book smart too. But I'd be knocking out months worth of work in a few hours. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was in homeschool in junior high and high school, literally I could finish a fucking yearbook in a month and a half, probably, realistically, doing lesson plans all the way through, you know? So nobody's there with me, but I technically have finished that, you know? So I didn't have a regular, there wasn't no proms. There wasn't no regular milestones of a childhood's life, you know?
It's probably relief kind of when you made that transition. It was kind of like put that behind you, and now was it more like you felt more authentic, or more of a realistic, I see this as tangible, or how was that transitioning from?
It was my reality, you know what I mean? But I don't know if I would recommend it, you know what I mean?
It's tough.
Acting happened to me, you know what I mean? And I'm not even gonna say my mom made this happen. This was certain things lined up in certain places, and that's my life path, bro. I came over here and ended up in a whole different world. And, you know, thank God, obviously, because I wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't, you know. I was born in Pittsburgh, and then we moved to Dallas, and then I started acting there and came out to Cali for a pilot season when I was a kid and just never left. But who fucking knows where I would be if I had stayed in Texas or ended up back in the Northeast somewhere. My life would be completely different. You know what I mean? So, but I wouldn't take my kids to go work. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So in the same return, if my kids come to me and that's what they're interested in and that's what they want to do, then I will help them in the best of my power to fulfill their life goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't throw them in the water, so to speak, just out of my own, this is a business. Cause I seen what it does, you know?
Yeah.
You know, it had effects, long lasting effects on everybody around me and my family. Cause I was a business, and then it took other people their jobs to manage this business that was me, or my career, basically, you know what I'm saying? And it all had an effect on all that, you know? My mother spent a good portion, 10 years or 15 years of, you know, more or less managing my career, making sure I had to get to where I'm going. Well, that took a big ass block out of her life. where when her kids were gone, she didn't really, you know, she didn't keep managing other actors. So that was like a big moment for her where, well, what do I do now? Because this is what I was doing. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah. So it's definitely, you know, it has its pros and its cons, like anything else in life. That was my reality. I don't know. I think it's the best reality for other people.
What was the scene like if you weren't going to high school and all that shit and you're acting, you're in LA at this point?
I mean, I've been on my own since I had a fucking Harley at 15 and a half, bro. I was driving around on auditions myself.
Couldn't tell you much, huh?
Nobody could tell me shit, dog, ever in my entire life. What are you going to tell me?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And you got, I mean, at this point, you're out here in LA, you got influence, you got, you know,
yeah. And it was smaller back then
relationships.
because there was no social media. So the good part about
Right.
that is that obviously I would have made a shit ton more money probably if there was. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it was still pure.
Yeah.
Because even though the industry kids hung out in the industry shit, I mean, unless you were somewhere where paparazzi, which wasn't much of at that time, it was still like Teen Beat type of days and like real magazines and editorials. So stories had to be sold to them basically anyway. So that was all real, you know, PR shit, you know,
it's all paid for.
the real world reality television thing hadn't happened yet. So it's different, but yeah, we just ran around and did what we want, drinking, smoking cigarettes, you know, living life, going on auditions when we did, working when we did. Everybody went in their own direction, you know? You can see how people fell off the cliff because there's nobody stopping you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's not like anybody really knows what's going on when there's no social media. And now if like one of these reality kids that fucking is a big fucking multi-million-dollar machine, that shit ain't gonna happen to them. They're gonna grab him and be like, nah. You know, just enough to make it profitable, but come back, we're gonna lose the horse now, right?
It's the truth.
We don't need to be waking up to that headline.
Hey, if you like that video and you want to see more, make sure you hit the like button below and subscribe to the channel. First Smoke of the Day clips.